Good morning, students and Sairam. Hope you all are doing well. So let us start with our today's class. In today's class, we are going to start with a new chapter of Behive, that is packing. Packing by Jerome K. Jerome. After listening to the word packing, you must be thinking that what this chapter must include in it. Now tell me that, or think on yourself that, do you love to go on a trip or on holidays? Yes, this is very true that we all love to go on trips and vacations. But the very important things comes when you have to pack your bag. And we all must be not so perfect to organize our bag in a proper order. So what happened? At times we create mess in our bags. In the same way, the story is also about this mess. So let us see that how this mess is created by three boys. So let us start with this chapter, but before, let us look and have an eye on the writer Jerome K. Jerome. Jerome K. Jerome, full name is Jerome Klapaka Jerome. Born 2nd May 1859 and died on 14 June 1927. Was an English writer and a humorist. Humorist is a person who tells us a comic stories, or comedies are main genre of this writer. That means he mainly write about comedies. But his best known work is a comic travelogue. Travelogue is a novel in which we are writing about our traveling, or we are giving each and every information where we traveled, how we traveled. So it's all about travelogue. From the name itself means a novel which consists of our travel diaries. And that book name is Three Men in a Boat. Other works include Idle Thought of an Idle Fellow and Second Thought of an Idle Fellow, and there are several other novels which are very famous of Jerome K. Jerome. So this was about Jerome K. Jerome. Now have an eye on introduction. Now this story is an extract from Jerome K. Jerome's novel Three Men in a Boat. Three Men in a Boat is a novel from which this short part is taken. The narrator of the story and his two friends decided to go on a holiday. This is a very humorous extract. Humorous why? Because when boys started to pack a bag, they make a mess. And when they make a mess, it becomes very humorous and comic. And about the confusion and mess created by the people who are inexperienced in the art of packing. The three boys are Jerome, George, and Harris. And the three considered themselves to be very skilled in the art of packing, but they are not. They all have very little knowledge about working in an organized manner, because they don't know how to work in an organized manner. So they create mess everywhere. Hence, to the great amusement of the reader, the small job of packing is carried out by them with many jerks and jolt. So there were mess created by these two boys. So let us have a look on this chapter. I said I'd pack. Now I here stand for the narrator and the writer, who is Jerome K. Jerome. So Jerome K. Jerome has written this work, and he himself is the narrator who is telling his story to all of us. Now he said that I said I'd pack. Now here Jerome says that I have decided, he's saying this to his friends, that I have decided that I will pack. Jerome thought that his ability to pack luggage was better than other. So he said that I will pack. But he doesn't means to pack. What he actually means that he want to guide the boys to pack in a proper manner. He just want to be an supervisor to just supervise the work doing by the boys. So he asked his friend to leave this job of packing on me. and the two friends agreed to his offer instantly, which was very strange for Jerome. George sat comfortably on the easy chair, and Harris bent his knees as he sat on the sofa and kept his feet on the table. Now, this was hardly what I intended. So he says, now, this was not what I actually meant. What I meant was, of course, that I will be the boss of the job. And Harris and George should Potter means should continue doing this work. They will just do the work as I will direct them to do. But now, I am pushing them aside every now and then with, oh, you, here, let me do it. So he says that I will do this, that I have decided to be a boss, not the employee. But now, then he said that when they will make, then, he said that I want to direct them. Then when they will make a mistake, I will guide them in a proper way. He said that he's saying this to himself, that I was thinking that if they will do a mistake, I will guide them in a proper way. I will push them aside and say, oh, you be aside, I will tell you how to do this job. So he was talking these things to himself in his mind. But now he says that I want to teach them by being a boss there. But now they are irritating Jerome. How? Because they are resting on sofa and chair and they are not helping. And Jerome get irritated by seeing other people resting and he is working himself. Now he recollect one incident of his past and he is telling this to us. He recollect that once he lived with a man who would sit lazily on the sofa all day through and would watch the writer do all the work. So he said, now he is remembering one incident and he says that once I remember that I was living with a man who was very lazy and all the day he would lie on the sofa and he would watch me what I'm doing. The man would say that he enjoyed watching him go around. Now whenever he asked the men to do work, the men would say that I love to see you while you are working. This would make the writer mad with anger. Now Jerome is saying that this particular remark, that he loves to see me when I am working, this make me filled with anger, that I don't like person lying on sofa and chair while I am working. The writer adds that he could not sit idle and watch others work like slave. On the other hand, he liked to check their work, walk around with his hand in his pocket and direct them on how to do the work properly. He feels that as he was energetic, it was part of his nature to behave in that manner. So he said, it doesn't mean that I will be a boss and I will sit on my chair and I will let other work like a slaves, but I just want that others should work and I should guide them in a proper way. I should move here and there, would see their work, how they are doing, so I should keep an eye on them, and this type of things make me more energetic because I have this in my manners. This is what I behave, it is in my nature, I could not change it. So if we say in simple word, that means he have this in his nature, that he loves to be a boss who likes to guide all the person working under him. However, I did not say anything but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be, but I got the bag finished at last and I sat on it and strapped it. So here he is saying that I thought it would be a very easy job, but it was not. But still I packed the bag and at last I packed it and I sat on that bag and zip it tightly. Now what happened after that? Ain't you going to put the boots in? Said Harris. Now Harris here interrupted and said to Jerome, you have to keep the boots in the bag, isn't it? Now, and I looked round and found I had forgotten them. So Jerome forgot to pack the boots in the bag. That's just like Harris. He couldn't have said a word until I've got the bag shut and strapped. Of course. And George laughed, one of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild. Now here Jerome says that it might had happened that he should tell me this before also, but he didn't. He did it by intentionally. That he didn't inform me that I have forgotten to pack the bag before I have zipped it. But now he did it to irritate me. And on the other hand, George was laughing. And while he was laughing, that was making Jerome very angry. I opened the bag and packed the boots in. And then just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Had I packed my toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. So here what happened that after he packed the boots in the bag, when he was just zipping it up, an idea came to his mind that he has packed his toothbrush or not. And with toothbrush he was having a very strange relation, because he always forget to pack his toothbrush. So he says that why it always happen that I always forget to pack my toothbrush. Now here he adds something more to tell us. Now Jerem's add that while traveling he always mess up with carrying his toothbrush. He has nightmares of not having packed it, wake up in sweat and looks for it. In morning he packs it before using it, and then unpacks the bag to get the brush and use it. So here he says that I have a very strange relation with my toothbrush, because whenever I travel, everything get messed up because of this toothbrush. At times it happened that I am sleeping and I had a nightmare. Do I have packed my toothbrush? And I just get up and I am sweating very badly, and I just look here and there to see whether I have packed my toothbrush or not. Or if not, at night, then in the morning, what I do, and I pack my bag and I pack my toothbrush also. And when I want to brush my teeth, I again unpack the bag and take out my brush. And before leaving the house for traveling, I take my toothbrush with me in my hand with a handkerchief around it. So he says that I always being in a mess because of this toothbrush. And at last moment he rushes to his room to get the brush, and finally he wrap it in his handkerchief as carries it to the railway station in his hand. As I've told you that he has a very strange relation. At night he have nightmares, in morning he is confused what to do and what not to do because of only of his toothbrush. Now, of course, I had to turn every mortal things out now. Mortal things means in Hindi gade murde ukharna. So he's saying that I have to keep every non-living thing from places, and I have created a mess in the room because I am throwing it here and there. You know, when we are searching for a thing in very hurry, we used to throw things here without any consciousness. We threw things on floors, on beds, and because of that a lot of mess is creating it in our room. And he said that I rummage the things up into the same state that they must have been before the world was created. So he says I put the things again in the same manner, the way they were created by the God. That means he have torn the things, he have scratched everything from here and there. Of course, I found George and Harris 18 times over. So he said that I have found their toothbrush, George and Harris toothbrush, 18th time. But I couldn't find my own. Now what he did, he started packing the bag once again, and he started shaking the things before keeping it into the bag. And then he found his toothbrush in the boots, and he repacked the bag once again. Now when Jerome closed the bag, George asked if the soap was inside. As Jerome was impatient now he is filled with anger and he don't want to answer such questions. He replied that he wasn't concerned if was there or not. Close the lid and strap the bag. So he says that when George put up the question that did you pack the soap or not, I was not concerned about the soap at all. I just packed the bag and I zip it. Then he realized that he had pegged his spectacle in it too and had to once open it again to get them. So he realized that he has kept his spectacles in the bag. And now what he has to do, he has to unpack the bag again and he has to take out his spectacles. Finally, the bag was closed at 10:05 p.m. Then they had to pack the food basket. Now once again, that he saw the time that it was 10:05 p.m. and he saw that I have completed at night this bag packing. I've started from evening and it's night now. And he remembered that they have forgotten to pack the food basket. Harris said that as they were left with less than 12 hours to leave, they should pack the basket as well. So he says now we should not keep this work aside. We should do it right now only because we don't have so much of time. It is just 12 hours left to leave from this place. So we should pack the basket right now. Harris decided that the food basket would be packed by him and George. So George and Harris decided that they will pack the bag. Jerome agreed to take his turn for some rest while his friend packed the bag. So he says, okay, now I am taking rest. Now you both pack the basket. What happened? George and Harris started packing the hamper. Hamper means a basket filled with different things, different eatable things, in a very happy mood. They wanted to show Jerome that they could pack well. So now the competition is going on and they both were showing Jerome that we could do a better packing than what you did. Jerome waited for them to create a mess. Now here Jerome was sitting very comfortably and he was waiting. Let's see what they will do, and he knew that they will create a mess because he considered Harris to be the worst packer in the world. Jerome says that I considered that Harris is the worst packer. He could not pack anything. Jerome looked at the piles of plates, cups, kettles and bottles, the jars, pies, cakes and tomato which had to be packed into the hamper. So these are the things which they have to pack in a basket. He thought that as the boy would mess up, it would be an interesting thing to watch. So he says these are the things which they have to pack in a basket. And I knew that they will create a mess. And this will be a very interesting thing to watch. So he was just being an audience, sitting comfortably and watching what they both were doing. The scene became very interesting as they broke a cup at the start. So in the starting only, they broke a cup. Jerome says that they broke the cup to indicate that they could do that too and to make things interesting. So here Jerome says that they did this to show that they can make more mess than what I did. And this will be very interesting. Harris placed the jar of strawberry jam on top of the tomatoes. So what he did, he first put tomatoes on the bottom and on that he kept the jar of strawberry jam. The tomatoes were squeezed by the jar. So tomatoes are very soft and they get squeezed very easily. So when the jar of jam was kept on the tomato got squeezed. So the first mess they created that they actually squeezed the tomato. They removed the damaged tomato with the help of a spoon. So what they did, with the help of a spoon, they removed all the damaged tomatoes. Next, now it was a turn of George. First Harris squeezed the tomato. Now George will do something else. George stepped on the butter. So what George did, George kept his foot on the butter packet. Jerome remained silent but sat on the edge of the table to watch the action. Now here Jerome, being a very silent audience, he was sitting quietly on the table watching what they both were doing. His silence irritated the friend. And in the same way as Jerome was getting irritated by the comfortable position of Jerome and Harris, in the same way, George and Harris are getting irritated by the way he was comfortably and silently sitting on the table. They kept the things behind them, and later, when they wanted them, they could not find them. So what they do, as they were packing on the table, and they what they do, they put things on the chair behind them. Behind means at the back. And when they want to find them, they couldn't find that thing. They placed the pies on the bottom and kept heavier things on them, which smashed the pies. Now think that what they are doing at the bottom of the basket, they are keeping the pies which are very softer, and on that pies they are keeping the very heavy things. What happened at last? They crushed all the pies. That they have created a lot of confusion with a small piece of butter. What happened? To find the things properly, as they were packing the hamper, they got a can of salt in their hand, and what they do, but not intentionally, but by chance, they pour all the salt on everything. It might happen the lid of the can was open and the salt has poured on the things. Now what happened? The confusion was created in the room just on a piece of butter, that where the butter was kept. And this confusion was going on, and they were searching for the butter here and there. He had not seen anyone create so much mess with the butter that was worth 1 and 2 pence. As they did, George removed it from his slipper and tried to put it onto the kettle. As he was unable to do that, he placed it on a chair. Harris sat on it. The butter stuck to him. He stood up, and both the boys went round the room looking for the piece of butter. So he says, just for a piece of butter, they both have created such a great mess. What happened when George kept his feet on the butter piece? He put the butter was stick to his slippers. So he just take out that piece of butter and he kept into the kettle. As he was not able to keep that piece of butter into the kettle, he put that on the chair. And by chance, Harris came and he sat on that chair, and the butter stick to his butts. Now, when Harris stood up, George and Harris were looking into the room that where they have kept the butter. Now, just for a small piece of butter, they both have created such a great confusion in the room. George looked intently at the empty seat on which he had placed the butter a few minutes ago. He took an oath of truthfulness that he had placed it there not even a minute ago. He says, now George was looking on the chair with the eyes that I have kept the butter on this chair only. Now where it has gone? He has taken a oath. Oath means he has I swear I have kept it on this chair only. Now where it has vanished, I don't know. Now once again they searched the room, and what happened? They again came to the center of the room where they are empty-handed. So they didn't find the butter. Now George said that the disappearance of the butter was most amazing thing that he had known. Now George says that it is a very interesting thing that I have kept the butter on the chair and it has disappeared. Now where it has disappeared? It is a very interesting thing. Harris said that disappearance of the butter was a mystery. Now Harris says that it is a mystery where it has gone. George saw the butter sticking to the Harry's back and said that it had been there all this while. So here what George saw the butter was sticking to the Harry's back when he sat on the chair. So it got stick to his back, and he says that it was there on your back all the while when you were searching for the butter all around the room. Now Harris turned around and asked where it was. George flew to Harry's bag and asked him to stand still. They removed the butter and packed it inside the teapot. So Harry said, "Where it was? I don't know." So George said, "Just stand straight. I will take it out from your bag." So from the bag, he took out that butter and he said that it was hair. And after that, they packed the butter into the teapot. Here, another character is introduced, that is a pet dog of Jerome named Montmorency. Now, Montmorency has also participated in all such things. His aim mainly is to interrupt everyone and then get scolded. So now this is a time pass by a pet dog Montmorency that he loved, that people should give attention to him by scolding him. So he was an attention seeker. The pet dog was an attention seeker and he want everyone to give attention to him. So to gain attention, he do such things which led Jerome and his friend to scold that dog. Jerome adds that if Montmorency was able to twist into a place and create nuisance by angry people and get things thrown at him in return, he felt that he had utilized the day in a good way. So here Jerome is telling about Montmorency, that Montmorency has a habit that until and unless a person give attention to him, he will create a mess. He has a habit, if he has this in his hand, that to create a mess in a room, to twist that room, to make a mess of that room, he will do that in return, that he is getting the people would get anger, people would get angry on him and he will get attention in return, and this will make him think, him here means Montmorency think that he has utilized his day in a very good day. Montmorency aim was to get people trip over him, that means his attention over Montmorency, and scold him. By doing this, he felt that he had utilized his aim and would feel proud of his achievement. That means Montmorency aim is just to get attention from the people by doing just nonsense things, and in this way he think that he has utilized his day. Now here again he do the same thing. Montmorency is doing the same thing. He's trying to get attention from the boys. So what he did, he sat on the things which were packed. He thought that when George and Harris will reach out for the things to be packed, they were reaching out of his cold wet nose and would bring it forward for them. He stepped into the jam bottle, he shook the teaspoon, he acted as if the lemon were rats, stepped into the hamper to kill these rats. He was stopped by Harris, who hit him by a frying pan. So here Montmorency is trying to get attention from George and Harris, and he says that the things which are not packed, he sit on those things. And now he thought that if they both will come and they will not find the things properly in a proper manner, then they will get angry and they will give attention to me. And the same thing happened whenever he was trying to do something strange. What Harris did at last, Harris hit Montmorency with a frying pan. Harris blamed Jerome for encouraging Montmorency for doing all his mischief. Jerome says that a dog like Montmorency did not need encouragement. It was born to be like that and act like that. So here Harry says that, Jerome, it was you who made this dog like this. You have encouraged him to do such things. Here Jerome answered that, are you out of your mind? I have not encouraged this dog. Even he did not need my encouragement. He is born with such things, that he act like that only. Now, at last, at 12:50, they had packed the basket. Harris sat on it and said that hopefully nothing would break in it. What happened? Harris sat on the hamper and said that I hope that nothing should break on now. George was indifferent and said that if something broke, it would not matter. Now here George says that if something would break, it would not matter to me. As they were ready for bed, they went upstairs to sleep. Now at 12:50, they went to sleep, and because they want to get up early in the morning at 6. As they settled in their bag, beds, Harris asked Jerome if he preferred the inside or outside of the bed. Jerome said that he preferred to sleep on the inside of the bed. This seemed strange to Harris. George asked them that he would wake them up at what time. Harris replied 7, while Jerome wanted to wake up at 6 as he wanted to write some letters. So here, as the boys now settling down on the bed, Jerome said that I want to sleep inside the bed. I don't want to sleep outside of the bed. That is the very outside corner of the bed. I don't want to sleep there. I want to sleep at the inside corner of the bed. And it became very strange for Harris. Now George said that, boys, tell me at what time I should make you wake up. Now Harris said that you should wake up at 7. But Jerome said that no, wake up at 6 because I have to write some letters also. Harris and Jerome had a discussion on the time and finally they settled on 6:30, each accommodating his time by half an hour. So now what happened? Harris and Jerome started an argument that Harris wanted to wake up at 7 and Jerome wanted to wake up at 6. Now they both were discussing on such things and at last they both thought that 6:30 would be the right time to wake up. They both settled at, they both accommodate. That means he gave more half an hour, he less his half an hour. So the exact time decided to get up in the morning is 6:30. Now George, in the morning, George did not respond as he was sleeping. Harris and George made mischievous by placing the bathtub next to George's bed so that he would fall into out as he woke up, on the pretext that his way he would take a bath as soon as he got up. So what happened that both Harris and Jerome are very naughty and they placed a bathtub next to the bed of George. So next morning when he will wake up, he will directly fall into the tub and he will not again go to sleep. Now this was the story Packing by Jerome K. Jerome. Hope you all have understood. This is a very interesting and a very simple story. So thank you students. This was all for today.